Hello everybody, Dren608 here again with another pre-release video for Xenonauts2. If you like what you see, hit the thumbs up button. You really see, go ahead and subscribe, hit the notify bell, be notified upload videos and or schedule streams. Last times we kind of went through a base building 101, kind of the things that you should probably start off with to give you an idea of what you can do. The fact that these things all tell you what they give you and so on is very useful. We skipped on the missile battery right away because we want to save that money for some other things. This time around, we're going to go through the soldiers. Now here is where you could recruit some more soldiers. You see, this is my starting group here. You can click on this button down here. If you click over here, we'll show you anybody that you've lost and when they lost it, how many missions, kills, date, their final mission, and their status, which is usually KIA. You can also recruit soldiers. This gives you a list of all sorts of soldiers out here. Because I've played before, I kind of know what to look for. So I'm going to try and give you a general idea as well. What you're looking for is people with decent number of hit points and decent number of time units, and preferably decent strength. By decent, I'm talking about in the 50s. So here's one that's Josh Ashwood from Great Britain. You can see the little flag there. He has 63 hit points, 61 time units. He's not that accurate, and he has a 59 strength. So he can carry a lot, and he can move relatively quickly, and so on. So he's one of the ones I'm going to pick. Now, the other one I'm going to pick is going to be Anna Mulder from, is that France? Is that French flag? I can't, I'm not sure. Red, white, blue. Is that France? Is that the tricolor for France, folks? I don't remember. She has a very low reflex, so she's not going to be good at doing opportunity fire. That's what reflex is used for. But I can only buy 2 more people, and I want them with the highest hit points and time units that I can find. So I'm going to go ahead and grab her as well. And this is because I know what's coming down the pike. I could take her, could take Victor as well instead of this one. He's got the same problem with accuracy, but a few more time units. I took this one because of the strength, and then Anna has a good strength and 60s in accuracy, time units, and hit points, which means she can move around the battlefield really quickly. Might even make her into a long-range person or whatever. So it costs 10,000 per soldier to recruit, so I'm going to spend 20,000 of my money there. And I'm going to bring in a couple more soldiers. And now if you go back to the Manage Soldier screen, you can see we have 3 people that are unassigned. We have 9 in the Skyhawk. And these 2 is going to be 2 days before they even get here to be able to be selectable. They'll start off as riflemen. We're going to go over to the soldier screen now. And here's where you get to see your people and what they're assigned. So you can look here, her accuracy is down because she's wearing defender armor. She has 63 hit points. She has 57. You get bonuses for combat experience, which is basically your, when you get your, like this one here, her time units are actually up by +3 because of her rank. So privates get, I think it's 0. Corporals get 2, sergeant gets 3, sergeant major gets 4. So as you go up in value, you get more of those, okay? So we've got 2 riflemen, 2 assaults. Our assault people tend to be people that have a lot of strength because they're wearing not only defender armor, but this stuff, which is an extra 12 weight, okay? And they tend to carry grenades. Down here is your carry weight. If you were to add something, let's say I went ahead and added a smoke grenade. Smoke grenade weighs 6, and it takes me over, and it reduces my number of time units. So you really don't want to go over your carry weight if at all possible, okay? And this assault person is pretty much the same. Notice the accuracy is only 50, but with a shotgun, accuracy is not really all that important because you're going to get in close and hit. Each time you shoot, you've got 3 attacks coming in. So she's at 59 hit point, 59 time units. He's at 58. Okay. So a shield basically is somebody who will go out and plant themselves. The shield will take damage. It has basically 80 hit points that the enemy has to get through. So it's usually a good 2, maybe 3 shots that it'll stop the enemy. Otherwise, it won't last long, but it will give you a couple of shots that maybe you can put a shooter behind. Your riflemen are your standard infantry. You'll notice that we don't have strong strength on that person. This guy does have a strong strength. So what we're going to try and do here, we're going to see what happens if we put on this. We're going to go over by a few points. And the only way you can really get rid of those is you have to drop off equipment. Okay? And now I'm back down to only -1 time unit by getting rid of grenade. Also going to get rid of his spare ammo. She's going to be able to put on defender armor and not worry about it. Kate Jackson is going to have the same problem as that other one did. She's going to be over, so she's going to have to get rid of a couple of things. Our heavy dude, he's carrying an awful lot of extra things here, or she is. We don't really have a lot of defender armor left, so we're going to leave her alone. Actually, we can actually add something to her. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a flashbang and a regular grenade, so that, yeah, they usually are using their machine gun, but if necessary, they can become sort of a demolition cover person. So, and our sniper is going to run into the same problem. Can't really put defender armor on him, but we can add we can only add 1. Let's add a frag grenade to them. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to maximize things here. One of the things you can do is you can go in here and check these guys out. This guy has 72 time units and a 64 strength, so you can actually put him in a defender armor, and he's a much better rifleman. So what we can do is we go back to our ship. Let's go find that one. There's that rifleman that I made that I had to take things off. That's one. That one's okay. This one I had to take off. So this is a rifleman that I couldn't really add anything to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unassign her. Then I'm going to go back over here to this guy, and I'm going to assign him to the Skyhawk, because he's able to carry stuff. Now check these other guys out. This one has only a 45 strength. She has a 38 strength, so she's even worse. I mean, even with her standard equipment, she's got too much. So to even make her effective, you'd have to get rid of something. Okay? So we don't have, when these guys get here with their high strengths, we will probably be able to get them on board with defender armor being worn. So if we go back to our ship, what we have now is shield with armor, 2 assault with armor, 1, 2, 3, 4 riflemen, all in with the defender armor. So we have all of our defender armor used. We do probably need a couple more defender armors. So what we're going to do is one of the things you can do in the soldier screen, which is kind of neat, let's go to this guy here. See, this is called Rifleman. You could create a new loadout. You can change their build, okay, to something else, which is, these are sort of pre-built things. Like here's the Grenadier. He would start with just all of this. It's got lots of grenades. These things are good against blowing up bits and pieces. They aren't so good against what's this? So it does 35 kinetic damage. So it's good at like taking out cover and things, but they just aren't that great. So I tend to not take them early on. Later on, you'll see in the playthrough, I probably will have a Grenadier that'll have 2 of these, and then they also will add a lot of times you'll add one of these. And what that does is that lets this guy, he can with drop smoke. This is effectively smoke grenade. So over a couple turns, you can have him drop a smoke blanket while you're retreating. So he can be useful for doing that. But let's say, okay, I don't want to be that. You go back to the Rifleman. You'll notice our Riflemen all start out without armor. So one of the things you can do is you can go create a new loadout. That's what I'm going to do. You get all sorts of lovely little symbols. Can't remember. What am I going to use here? Okay, so new loadout profile, we're going to edit this. We're going to change the name. We're going to call this Combat Rifleman. Okay. We'll just call him Combat Rifle. Okay, we accept that. Now, what you do is you go in and you change this. What I'll do here is I'll add the Defender armor. So this is a Combat Rifleman, standard loadout. Weighs 89 kilograms, okay? So this is your standard that you're going to give to call a Combat Rifle. What you do is you go and you save this. You want to update that to this, okay? Now you will still have Riflemen, but now you have something called Combat Rifle, all right? Combat Rifle is basically somebody who's got armor on, okay? So, like this person here, I could say, change you to Combat Rifle. And we run into this problem again where they're overweight. They're losing, use 1 time point for every point you're over your weight. In this case, this guy is actually still at 63. So we might go ahead and just leave him that way. This person, we're going to change them to Combat Rifle. They'll stay the same. And this one, if we change her to Combat Rifle, she's going to be overweighted. She only has 46 time units, so we're actually going to have her be, we're going to call her Combat Rifle, but actually, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Weapons, I actually can leave her with her extra thing. She's right at 83. So she's fine. So those are combats. The assaults are pretty well built. As soon as I get a few more strength points, I really would like to have the assaults have a smoke grenade as well. And for my shield person, as soon as I get a bit more strength on the shield person, one of the things I like to do with shields is I will actually give them a smoke grenade. And initially I'll get rid of his pistols, ammo. Because once you lose your shield, you're basically going to have to put up some kind of screen to keep yourself going. All right. So that's just me kind of messing around with this a little bit. When I get a shield person up to 92 strength or whatever, I'll probably add back in the ammo. And then what I can do is I can say this is what I want a standard shield person to be. So I can just save that. It says yes, override it. Okay. And if you decide that you want all your assaults to be slightly different armed, then you can change it and just save here. So that's really important for you just looking at a guy's stats and going, oh, strong, he's got a high strength, decent time units, lousy accuracy, he's an assault person. Click. You click here, you select assault, then you're done. Okay? And if you don't want to do it, you just click off of it and it goes back here. So you can see here the defender armor, it gives them 15 armor points. So all these guys have, this guy has 15 because he has a plate in here, which weighs an extra 12. So that's why that's at 15 instead of 12. All your combat riflemen have 12 armor. Your heavy and your sniper, because they're carrying so much equipment, are not going to have defender armor, at least not right away. Later on, you might lower them down on weight if you can get them down low enough. This guy just doesn't have the strength. He's got, he's one of my better accurate people, so he's going to be a sniper, but he's going to be in cover at all times if at all possible. Okay? And there you have basics of going around and defining your soldiers, how to go ahead and create a new combat, a new loadout. Some of the other loadouts that are here are already pre-built. You can actually go in and save them, like I did with, I think it was the shield person, right? I changed the shield person to being, if you clicked on somebody to being shield, that's how they would be loaded out. So when you get more, there's a more advanced shield and maybe in a more advanced pistol down the road, you could actually put those into a person that's shield and then save that and say that's going to be my shields going forward, and so on. So that's how you do that. This is kind of how you deal with soldiers. We're going to go into aircraft very quickly. We don't have a lot that we can do with them, so I'm going to just do a quick overview of the aircraft here. I also showed you how you can recruit new soldiers. Okay, we're going to go into the aircraft real quick. You can't do a lot with the aircraft early on. You haven't researched new weapons and things. One of the things you can do is in here you can get rid of the Sidewinder missile. If you look at the Sidewinder, it has 25 damage, penetrates 0 armor, does -1 to any armor it hits, takes 25 seconds to reload, has a range of 20, has a fire arc of 90. Okay, if you look at the Skylance torpedo, it only has a range of 20, but it penetrates 20 armor. Does 16 damage compared to 25. So it doesn't do quite as much damage, but it also destroys 10 armor, but it goes through 20 armor. So it does a good job of getting places. Still only has a range of 20. So what I tend to do, this is just sort of me, I go into each airplane and I put one Skylance and leave them with one Sidewinder. Okay, because the Skylance will get through the early armor of the early UFOs, and then hopefully the Sidewinder finishes them off. Okay? So that's what I'm doing. You'll notice that its current status is rearming. You don't get these immediately. It's going to take a little bit of time for them to get those on the equipment point. Okay? You can actually, if you have another base, you can relocate your aircraft to another base that has an empty hangar. And if you're like, it's a piece of junk, I don't want to keep it anymore, I've got something newer I want to build, you can actually decommission them. I don't think I've ever actually decommissioned a Skyhawk until mid-game, maybe? And then only like one. I usually have 2 of these and 2 like advanced fighters. And then if I have the lower level ones that I know these guys can take, if I see those UFOs, these guys take off and take on those, and then your advanced fighters take on the really nasty ones. Anyway, that's a quick overview of how the aircraft work. We will get into the Skyhawk. Biggest thing about the Skyhawk that's changed. You can only have 9 people. Let's say we're going to put our assault people out here. We'll put our shield here. We'll put a combat rifleman on this side. Our heavy person on there. Our sniper is going to go behind the shield. We got 2 combat riflemen there, and then this is sort of our reserve. Now, you can actually have these guys start facing. See where their little gun points? That's how they're facing. So you can have these guys facing out the door, so when you land, they will actually see what's out here off the side of the Skyhawk. That's something we couldn't do before either. That's very important, because now when the Skyhawk lands in our first mission, you will be able to see what's on the flank of, in the immediate flank out the door on both sides, plus you'll still have this arc out here. It helps a lot. It really does. When you get the vehicle that we're trying to research, once we can build one of those, that will probably replace one of the combat riflemen, probably the least effective one, in the front lines. And you'll have this, how you line these guys up is how you want to play. I tend to like to have the heavy and the shield in the front line. From a tactic standpoint, the shield guy tends to walk out. He's got a shield, so hopefully anything you shoot right away will shoot and hit the shield. Kind of gets out, takes a look both ways. If there's something like an alien that's not too far away, I'll have the heavy guy step out and shoot, because while heavy weapons may kill an enemy and may not, what they're really good at is making them go into suppression. So without having to throw a hand grenade, you can suppress them with just gunfire, which would let you then possibly get out, somebody else who can actually shoot better and not have to worry about getting shot back. So that's just my tactical take on that. I tend to put the assault guys back here because you usually don't have a lot of aliens out here. And if they can get close to one, they can usually take care of 1 or 2. Also, usually my assaults have more time units. These particular assault people don't. They're at 50s. I try to get them out here because if you run a long way in combat, which they would have to do to catch up to the combat to the front, it helps increase your time units. And that's what you want. You want time units in the 60s because there's so much that you need to do. You need to move, you need to shoot, you need to save time for snapshots. So 60 time units is about the place where you want people to be, 60 and above. If you can have everybody in the boat at 60 and above, you're doing well. So this is my lineup. This is the one thing I really wanted to show you was, that you can actually have these guys facing here. I will also show you something when we're going on our first mission. You can actually get into the boat now while you're in flight and change people's positions and stuff. This becomes very important, like when you are just trying to get people on the boat and get the boat out the door, then you can jump into the boat and actually place people where they belong if they're not in the right positions. So that can be helpful too. All right. So now we've done soldiers and aircraft. I think the only thing we have left to do is go to the Geoscape on the next video, and we'll try and advance it up. We'll show you how to do the timing, how things get shown to you in the Geoscape, and we'll get up to our first mission, and depending on how long it takes us to get to that, we'll do the first mission. So you'll get to see the first mission in the next video. So this has basically been all the stuff you have to do in the base, even before you start the clock. This is all stuff you should do right away. Hire some soldiers, get your base structures going the way you want. You don't have to follow my guide here. This is just a thing that you're gonna want to build another aircraft, so you have 3 of these. You're gonna need power to run all this junk. You're gonna need more people if you're gonna do this. You need to have more people. If you're not going to build the workshop and the engineers here, you don't need the extra living space. You can save the money and you can just build the hospital and the the training facility here instead. And then you can use this money that you didn't save, the $750,000, you can use to try and start up another base. It's all a matter of how you want to try and take this game on. There's lots of ways to do it. I'm sure that there are people out there that have thousands more hours playing Xenonauts 2 than I do. I think I'm only at a few hundred, maybe? I don't know. I haven't checked my stats in Steam, but I've always tried to play it from the standpoint of how's the gameplay from an everyman's point of view, somebody who's not played a lot of these games and wants to try one out. So that's why I'm trying to do this overview from that same point of view of, well, I'm not really familiar with, Xenonauts. I played a little XCOM maybe once back in the day, and I want to see how this compares. So that's what we're going to be going through, and I'm going to try and take you through probably the first 30 days gives you a good mix of missions from what I've played through so far. I've actually played up to about 120 days, I think, a couple of times. Usually I get to somewhere sooner than that. I find in the development process I would find a quote-unquote bug or something I didn't think was working right. We would report it or go find that it's been reported, and it's like, well, we're going to fix it in the next update, so I would hold off until the next update. Then I'd start over to see if it was actually fixed. And so I did a lot of restarts. I did a lot of the early game, like the first 60, 90 days. I've done a lot of those. I have not done a lot of the later games. So I'm going to actually be finding out a bunch of that in the early access as well, and the research trees and how they've changed it and things like that. So that's going to be fun to find out. We'll find out together. I will post things as I find them, neat little things that I find out once I get done with this sort of intro series of videos. Okay? So, if you like what you see, hit the thumbs up button. If you really like to see, go ahead and subscribe, hit the notify bell, be notified to upload videos and schedule streams. And next time we will go out to the Geoscape and actually see what's going on in the world and hopefully get to our first mission. I'm Dread608. Until we meet again, stay safe and bye-bye.